Okay. We're time, Mr. Crow. Asterisk Herald, the class is yours.
Thank you, Tostig. This is a class about the submissions process. I am Herr Thomas de Groot. I am the Asterisk Herald who handles internal submissions for the Kingdom of Ansteorran, which means that I process all of the things that are coming in, all of the name, device, and badge submissions that are submitted come through me. I process them, I put them onto internal letters, which we'll get into exactly what those are and what those look like in a little bit. I will show you a little bit of Oscar as well. My Oscar might look a little different from your Oscar just because I have all the submissions herald things. So from beginning to end, this is a 6 to 9 month process. That seems like a lot, but part of it is that we want it to be a deliberative process, that we know that we're giving everything due diligence. So how does a name or device or badge submission start? It starts with the actual submitter. The submitter has an idea, brings that idea to a consulting herald. That may be you, that may be a local herald, that may be me. I've done consulting herald before. That maybe takes it to the consulting table at Steps Warlord or Gulf or Penzic. At the consulting step, you do basic conflict and style checks. If you can do a quick conflict check, that's really great. Penzic, I worked the consult table at Penzic. You have to do a conflict check, at least a basic conflict check at that table before the submission's complete. Sometimes you can't do a conflict check if you're out at Steps Warlord, there's not great internet there. So maybe you can, maybe you can't. Style checks, see if it meets the basic style requirements for armory. Make sure there's not anything that's particularly egregious, like an ermine widget on a white field, because that won't work unless the submitter's got some documentation that will make that work. So you can help people get the information onto the form. There's forms to fill out. The name form, you fill out the top, you fill out the name, and you fill out the documentation. Devices and badges, you have to do 2 forms, a color form and a line art form. If you're scanning the forms in and sending them to Asterisk electronically, there's a way to cheat that a little. You do the line drawing, you scan the line drawing, then you color in the line drawing and scan the colored in one. Payment, it's got to get paid for. There's a fee from Laurel for paying for it. It used to be worse because that used to cover postage. Back in the days that all of this was done by physical mail and physical forms, there would be stacks of paper sent out every month. So the forms, the check or money order, we tend to not like to do cash for reasons. But the check and the money order, we take them to the local exchequer. Local exchequer, we are actually working on getting a PayPal system for this. That's coming. But local exchequer, and there's a receipt form. it's a good idea to send that receipt form with the forms to Asterisk to me, because technically I shouldn't put it on a letter until I have confirmation that it's been paid for. So by scanning the receipt form, you're showing confirmation it's been paid for. It makes the process, it takes some of the time out of the process. Now, send it electronically, or you can physically mail it. This is why Asterisk's address is in the Black Star, is in the Kingdom newsletter. If I should mention, if you have questions at any point during this, put in the chat box, or raise your hand, and I'm going to try and keep looking over. Okay, you have a question. You have a question, Starla?
Yes. I had for instance, where I had a person come to me from another group, from another barony, and they wanted a submission sent through. They sent me all the information and everything else. I thought that that there didn't need to be made a payment, because I thought it was a correction to one that had recently gone through, and it had just passed that mark where they needed to pay. So who do they pay? Do they pay their barony, or do they pay my barony?
If you're doing the submission, I would say it goes through your exchequer. It doesn't necessarily matter.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure on that, so I contacted their herald and told them to pay their exchequer. And so I haven't received any contact back or any copies of those, which is frustrating. But I was just unsure going forward whether I should just recommend them to pay my exchequer or theirs. So thank you.
It doesn't really matter as long as the payment gets through. Now, once a month, I try to put it up on the 3rd every month, and I usually plus or minus a day on that. But I will put all of the items into the Oscar system, which is the online system for commentary and response. So we have like this, we have like the current Ansteorran letter. So when these come in, I fill out, actually, I'll pull up the form I fill out. So this is the form that I actually fill out. So for a name, so I tell you what, so it tells me what letter it goes on, name, alternate name of all the different things that it could be. So let's say it's a device. So
Thomas, your screen share didn't change.
Oh. Okay. Did it change this time?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the form that this is the form that Asterisk actually fills out to get an item into an internal letter. So it has all the different kinds of things it could be. Who's submitting it? What's the blazon? I will admit I do a little bit of correcting blazon here. Is it new or is it a resubmission? Is it an appeal? Is it a change? All of that kind of thing. An email, because we need to be able to contact the submitter again. Is it associated with a particular group or household or guild or what or something? is it paired with something else? Like, did someone submit a name and a device? Because if you notice, if you look at an internal letter, or if you look at an internal letter on Oscar, sometimes you'll see new name and new device. That happens with this pairing. The line drawing and the color drawing both have to get uploaded and submitted, and any kind of notes. For instance, if His Excellency Vlad wanted to put a county coronet on his device, he could do that because he has a county, but I would need to put in the submission notes that submitter received county on blah through Kingdom of Ansteorran. Because it's a county coronet's a reserved charge. So if he wants to put it on there, we have to show that he's entitled to its use. Okay. So I will post that. I post that again on or about the 3rd. And it's always set to end commentary on the 10th. That's the way we do commentary in the kingdom, is it always ends on the 10th. So it's just over a month for commentary. And commentary is people, it's people deciding, it's people discussing, is this good? Is this bad? Is the documentation sufficient? Do we need more documentation? Is there way more documentation than we need and we can simplify it? Is there conflict with name or device or badge? Does it meet the style requirements? And this is a first look. There will be another more detailed look at Laurel level, but we can catch a lot of stuff here. We can catch a lot of the stuff here in Kingdom. So over the course of the month, if you're following commentary on something, you may be, like if you're the consulting herald, I always tried to do this on anything I consulted with. I followed commentary on it. So if I needed to reach back to the submitter for clarification or new art or what have you, I could do that. I could do that without too much delay. Usually it's the Sunday after the letter closes. It's not for the letter that recently closed. Yes, following commentary on everything is a good idea, and it does help you learn a lot. Usually it's the Sunday after commentary closes, but in the case of the July letter for this month, it is going to be tonight at 7. They have the decision meeting, the Kingdom decision meeting. And that's hosted by Borger, which is Brian O'William, who handles the external submissions. Once it gets through internal, then it gets put onto another letter. That goes up to Laurel. And the same process repeats, but it's on commentary for 3 months at Laurel, because there's 20 kingdoms worth of letters to look at. And the Laurel commentary pool is a bit smaller. So there's a lot of there's a lot of information that needs to get sifted through, so it takes more time. Every month, there's a Laurel decision meeting, just like we have our internal kingdom decision meeting. There's one by the Laurel staff. Wreath handles the armory, handles all the armory submissions. Pelican handles all the name submissions. And as I understand it, those meetings are 8 to 10 hours long. Because again, there's 20 kingdoms worth of stuff to go through. So you have so once the decision is done at the Laurel meeting, then they take a month to write them up. The Laurel staff takes a month to write them up, and then another month to proofread. And there are instances where errors have been found right up to the last couple of days. You can ask Emma de Featherston about some of those, because she probably won't be now that she's about to become Laurel Sovereign of Arms, but she has in the past been one of the primary proofreaders. So once that's all through and it's been proofread and all of that's taken care of, you have a letter of acceptance and return that's drafted. It's drafted, that's what's proofread. There's always a cover letter that has, if there was something particularly interesting from the commentary or that was noted in one of the submissions, it'll be something noted in the cover letter. Major happenings within the society-wide College of Heralds are noted in the cover letter. There's also a letter of errata. That's corrections. If something was done incorrectly, misspelled, miswritten, and they find it, if they decide to change blazons, that'll be in the errata, which the Laurel staff is always improving how they do things, or at least they try to. So some things where, well, it was blazoned this way 5 years ago, but we figured out we want to blazon it differently. We want to blazon it this other way that's also valid, that also describes it, and maybe is a little simpler or is a little more clear. So they will go back and send out a list of errata, which are we're changing the blazons. We're changing these blazons to now read this way. And that's released out to, there's a mailing list. There's a mailing list. You can get on it. You can get on the mailing list very easily, which if you're a local herald or a consulting herald, I recommend you get onto the LOAR mailing list. Certainly if you're a submissions herald, or if you want to go move up and become one of the more senior heralds, definitely get on the LOAR list. Arbalist, which is one of Bourdieu's deputies, does the notifications. Arbalist notifies submitters, the submitter, hey, your device passed, or hey, your badge got pended for a change in the art. We'll need your approval on changed art, or whatever the result is. Now, what I have really, that's a decent, I mean, the list there is a decent note of how things go. I'm a flowchart guy. I like flowcharts. They make sense to me. So I've also put together a flowchart for this. So we start with the client bringing ideas to the consulting herald. Forms, receipts, everything goes to asterisk, and it goes to the internal letter. We have a pretty good acceptance rate here from here in Ansteorran. We do a pretty good job of combing through things in internal commentary. I think the last I checked, our acceptance rate of Laurel, if it got past Kingdom, was well over 90%. So, like I said, we do a pretty good job of digging through things and checking things here. We have our decision meeting, which is tonight. A lot of times we'll describe it as how the heraldic sausage is made. I enjoy them. I think they're fun. Not everyone does. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But at a decision meeting, 3 things can happen. It can be rejected, returned was what we really call it. It can be passed, or it can be pended. If it's pended means means we think it's okay, but there's some small problem, like the colors are like, it's fine except we need new art. We need to change the art around. Or it's fine, but we have to get clarification from the submitter on, does the submitter want it spelled this way or that way? Or something small like that we know. Yes, past means, so past in this case for the decision, past in this case for the internal decision meeting means it goes onto an external letter. Means that Borgier will put it onto an external letter. What gets included on the external letter is if there's better or simpler documentation, they will put that documentation on with it. We'll put relevant commentary from Kingdom. Relevant commentary from Kingdom level gets included. Goes to the external letter, goes to the people that do commentary at that level have been doing commentary for a long time. They've seen a lot of, they have a good grasp of all the precedents. They know where to look them all up. They do a good job of being very thorough up there. Goes to that Laurel meeting, the Laurel decision meeting, gets a write-up, gets written up, gets proofread, and it goes to the letter of acceptance and return. Now again, this has 3 options. It can be accepted. So great, your thing passed. Your thing is now registered to you. It can be returned, rejected, in which case we couldn't get you the thing you wanted. A lot of times, especially at Kingdom, we try to say, well, we couldn't get you the thing you wanted, but here are some options that are close. That doesn't always happen at Laurel. Or we have pended. Once again, we can pend something. And that's usually minor changes in artwork, clarifications. It's the same kind of clarifications as with the other, as at Kingdom. If we do have those, it'll often go through an additional abbreviated commentary period where that's only a month, and then it goes back into the decision and proofreading stage. So that's where something could take. That's where it could expand up to about 9 months. Or sometimes things get behind. There was a time when society-wide everyone was at least a year behind on, the college was at least a year behind on decisions. So things like that can happen. And we're people, sometimes we get busy and just miss something. That's why I always suggest, if you don't see it, if you've sent something in and you don't see it on the next letter, reach out, and ask, hey, did you get this? I didn't see it on the letter. I didn't see it on the internal letter. Did you get this item? Because I might have missed, it's possible I might have missed it, or whoever is in my position missed it. It's happened. Any questions, any discussion? Tostig, I know you've done, you have to have done submissions during your time, right?
Yes, I have. Note that Grace can only type. She's not hooked up to audio, but I haven't gotten anything from her. Yes, I was a local herald and did submissions. I have not been involved in the formal Oscar form of it.
This flow chart is actually part of the textbook project. The flow chart and the listing from up here is part of the textbook project. That's what I originally put it together for, which is why it was originally written and kind of pitched towards local heralds and people who want to be local heralds.
And links to the 6th edition were just put on Facebook on both the Ansteorran group and on the Ansteorran Heralds group. Either last night or this morning, I forget which.
I think it was last night.
But it's there. Maya has her hand raised. Maya, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes. Hi. My question is the process for the herald registering a device. Is that a kingdom specific? I mean, limited to the kingdom process, or does this get registered as society-wide? Like,
names and devices are registered society-wide.
Okay, so if I go through this process in Ansteorran and I move to the East Kingdom, I don't need to register again in the East. Okay, gotcha.
Once it's yours unless you release it.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, or anyone want to any Tostig, did I miss anything major?
You haven't talked about signing in to Oscar to look at commentary or to ask for permission to be able to participate in commentary. And you might also want to talk about Skype as far as being in the decision process at the kingdom level, that everything is blind to us at the society level.
Okay. Unless you have specific permissions to do commentary at the Laurel level, you can't read Laurel level commentary. There are reasons for that. Some of that is that it can get a little heated. Some of the commentary at Laurel can get a little heated. I don't know if you've noticed, but book heralds like to argue. And at the kingdom level, we try very hard to remember that the submitters can read this. Anyone can read kingdom level commentary. Now, if you want to start doing commentary, then you need to actually get an Oscar account, and to do that, you reach out to Star Principal Herald, reach out to your Kingdom Principal Herald, and they will she'll put your name in for a Kingdom account. Then it's just like any other sign-in. It's just like any other sign-in. Your regular Oscar page. Your Oscar page, if you're not signed in, will look like this. Obviously, I have my username and password saved in there because I'm the only person that logs into Oscar off of this computer. So I log in. You won't have all of this stuff. You won't have all of these. You'll have log out, new password, preferences, site news, LOIs, KLOIs. These are the external letters of intent. These are the kingdom letters of intent. Senna, precedents, the admin handbook, track, and submission status. So anything that's in the Oscar system, you can look up in this sub status, and that will show you everything that's in commentary is listed here alphabetically. So if I wanted to look up, this just shows you what's at Laurel though. So if I wanted to look up, let's say I wanted to look up, this is one that was asked of me the other day. I'll just do this one because I was asked to look up for what the status of the submission for Valeria Nemira was. So I just do a Control F for find and look for the name, type in as much as I need to get rid of a lot of the noise. And I find that it is in proofreading. So it should come out on the next. Letter of acceptance and return. That submission status is a real useful thing when you've got people asking, "Hey, where's my thing?" So you can just look up once and so you can just look it up once and know where it is. Again, these are Laurel letters of intent. These are our kingdom ones. Any other let's see, any other questions?
Yeah, point out the kingdom marker, which is where you find the internal letters of intent for people that can do it publicly.
Oh,
Please.
Kingdom. So this is specifically the Ansteorra. This is specifically our Ansteorra page. Sorry, thanks for reminding me. I never use this. I always use the kingdom, the KLOI page. So this shows the current letter open for comment. Has anything from our senior heralds, which doesn't get updated very much, as you can see. The last update being 2017. But it is sometimes updated, and if it is, I should be checking it more often to make sure. Any discussion from you folks about the submissions process? Anything that you don't understand, or that you would like clarification on? If there isn't anything else, I think we can wrap up 15 minutes early.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas. I'm stopping recording. So if anybody wants to add any questions off record,